Welcome to the inaugural episode of whatever season of the Twiniversity Podcast this is. I'm here with my good friend, Miss Lauren Oak. Lauren, say hi, everybody.
Hi, hello.
So if you've never listened to our podcast, at the beginning of every episode, Lauren and I, kibitz is the word my dad would use.
Kibitz.
Yes, kibitz. I don't know why my dad would use that word all
Never
the time.
heard that word. And I've
Never heard
a lot
that
of,
word?
No, and I've heard a lot of like Yiddish words. My mom loved Yiddish words, but like that is something I've never heard.
What? Okay, so basically that's what this is. So the first few minutes of each podcast is us saying things like, you never heard of the word kibitz before?
Yeah,
So
exactly.
now, in all sincerity, how have you not heard that word?
I don't know.
You're a New Yorker. Come on.
I know. This is a new
You're an
word for
embarrassment.
me.
And for the record, my father didn't speak Yiddish. My father wasn't Jewish, but
My
yet
mother either.
used
No.
the word kibitz. What words did your family use that weren't necessarily English language words on a regular basis?
My mom used the word kvetch,
Okay.
and I'm not exactly sure what it means, but
Complain, I believe.
yeah, kvetch. I don't
But
remember
even anything like a German
anything.
word, like think about, it's funny how all families have words
My
that they use.
my dad would say Gesundheit when you would sneeze, always.
That's interesting, which would be German.
German, yeah, that's where
So
that a core memory came off in my brain
that's so
when he said
funny.
German. Yeah, he would say Gesundheit.
That's just what we have crazy families.
Yeah.
So speaking of crazy families, our first episode is with our crazy Twiniversity family.
Oh, okay.
So we're going to talk to Amanda and Paige today, both members of the Twiniversity team, both
Yep.
twin moms. Amanda is kind of like our Jill of all trades. She
Okay.
does everything, whether it's working with partners, whether
Yes.
it's organizing classes, she does a lot. And then her twinnies are big-ish. And then Paige's twinnies are tiny-ish still.
Oh, really?
So they're still little itty bitties. They're not babies. They're definitely bigger than babies, but I like that our Twiniversity team has a very diverse collection of twin ages
Yep.
within our group. And so for
Yep.
those of you that don't know, Twiniversity is comprised of, I would say 99.98 of our team members have twins with the exception
Oh,
basically of
yeah.
one.
Yep.
And so it's been, but I think you need to talk the talk to walk the walk.
Exactly. Yes.
So as
Absolutely.
a mother of singletons and twins, as you are,
Yes, I
Miss
am.
Lauren Felicia Rashad Oak, when you had the twinnies, did you ever find that you were comparing your twinnies with your singleton?
Well, comparing the experience, because it was exponentially more difficult having twins than it is having a singleton.
Is it really though? People say that. I
Yes.
heard
No, it
it.
is. I've lived it. So I had a singleton, and then I had my twins, and then I had another singleton because I love torture. I love
What if it was
torture.
twins again?
We probably would not be speaking right now, and I might be in a straitjacket somewhere.
I would
So
visit you.
you would,
Or
you
if you
would.
were in prison, I
Good.
would send you commissary
Yes.
money.
Although, truthfully, if I had another set of twins, what was I going to do? I would just have dealt with it. I would have just been really, really tired.
Could you imagine? I always think like if I
Well,
had,
because we know people who have had more than one set of
holy
twins
smoke.
now, or
Yes.
twins and triplets, and
Girl, I just found a family on the gram, which is, I'm going to say, I'm going to be cool and say things like that. So I saw a family on the gram. I'm pretty sure they had 5 sets of twins.
that's ridiculous.
So now what's AI, what's not? But then I'm
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
would you like, that's a
Five,
lot.
come on. Come, I know, I actually do know a family who has 3 sets.
I have to fact check this right now in real time. All right. I sent it to
People,
Amanda and Amanda's literal response was, oh, hell no.
yeah. Well, I mean, the pregnancy alone, one twin pregnancy alone, like, would send me over the edge.
Okay, here, literally. Hold on. Could you see the response? It literally says, hell no. All right. So the person's name is Amanda Lynn Sellers. She
Are
has
you gonna,
1.1 million followers, which I would too if I were you.
if I had 10
How
kids,
many? So she has fifth set of twins.
that's a
She
lot.
only makes twins.
Wow.
I got to try to see if we get that chick on the podcast.
Yeah.
We got to talk to her about this because something's in the water there, and I think she should move. That's horrible of me for people to say that. Now, for the record, I wouldn't want five sets of twins. Am I
No,
happy that
exactly.
the
For us
person has
personally.
five? I
But if
think
she
it's
likes
wonderful.
it, that's great.
I
Yeah.
don't think I could do 10 kids, Lauren.
That's a lot of kids. That's like my kids, your kids,
Lisa's
and
kids
and more than that.
and Trisha's kids.
Yeah.
No,
No, that's
I
a lot
can't.
of
Where
kids.
would you put them? How many
How do you feed
bedrooms?
them? How do you feed them? You have
I
to
have
live
so
in
many
a really big
questions.
house in the middle of nowhere where it costs $4 to buy a mansion.
Lauren, could you imagine?
No.
What do you think the cap number, like in your opinion? Like a good family size is clearly you could use you as an example. But
Well,
do
I
you
have
think that
four.
like do you think four is good? Do you think five is
I think
good?
three is good. Three is doable. Four will send you over the ledge. Like my cousin has six, and only singletons.
Is that Erin?
And no, no, my cousin Sarah in
Okay.
Texas. So Erin has three. So when I had just three, my cousin had five at the time. And she said to me, don't have four. She's like, stop right where you are. Three is doable. And I said, but
Okay.
you have five. She's like, exactly. And then she had a sixth. So I went and had a fourth, and then she had a sixth. So between her and I, we have 10 kids.
What would I say? Do you know how many I really wanted?
And you wanted like a harem, or you
I
wanted like
wanted
a whole,
six.
yeah.
I did. Could you imagine if that happened? Listen, Mother Nature was like, Nat, listen,
Not
I'm gonna do
enough.
you a favor.
I'm going to
Infertility
stop you.
is yours.
Where would you put them all?
I don't know. I would make it work. We couldn't live here. We would have
Yeah,
had to move.
yeah.
So for those of you who don't know, I live in a New York City apartment, which is kind of it's not a tiny apartment.
No, it
It's
has a
not
really
like a
great setup.
studio.
Yeah.
I mean, it's okay, but I don't know what do we have done. So yeah, so that's what we're talking about today on the pod is that we're talking about twin life and we're talking about having twin. It got very deep for a minute.
Wow.
And I don't think that the girls are used to me being deep because, like,
You're like fun
sometimes,
and
yeah. And then also, like, either I'm going to be very bossy because I
yeah,
have to
you're the
be the boss.
boss.
I don't want to be, but I have no choice. And then other times it's a lot more jokey and fun.
Yeah.
So, but this was like, you'll see. All right.
Okay.
Are you ready to listen to Miss Amanda and Miss Paige from our
I am.
Twiniversity team for our first podcast of the new season? And I don't know what season it is. I lost track.
752.
After episode 200, I literally stopped counting. All right.
All
Here we
right.
go, guys. Meet the fam. Good morning, ladies.
Good
Good
morning.
morning.
Guys, I am joined here with one Miss Paige and one Miss Amanda of our Twiniversity team who both play in the shadows, but not really that much. They're pretty much out there. So if you ever get a response from somebody on any social platform or pretty much anywhere, it's pretty much the Twiniversity team. I basically, yeah, I'm negligent and I literally do nothing for anybody is what my kids would say. That's what my twins would say. You do something for somebody. Please. Like Paige was saying, how do you have time to foster a dog? I don't know, but I'm sure my family will tell you I don't do enough because that's the life of a twin mom. So yeah, so today we're going to discuss the insanity that is our reality, right? So I've been taping some podcasts today already, and I'll give you guys some background information. So I talked to a twin dad today that has twinnies that are not a year. That was interesting. And then I had a twin mom that's currently pregnant and a twin mom whose twins are here that were in the NICU. And Paige, I was thinking about you a lot because
Mm,
her potatoes have a lot of feeding issues, but she's
yeah.
also a registered dietitian, so she sees it from a
Oh, that's
different
helpful.
lens. I don't know. Is it?
Maybe not so helpful.
Yeah.
Maybe she'll be too hard on herself then
I
with
was going to say too much
the
information is too much
numbers.
information sometimes.
Yeah, like I think about anybody who has a profession that has to deal with children, whether you're a pediatric OT or a
Mm,
speech person or an obstetrician or a pediatrician, we would think that they would have an easier time of twin life, but that's not true because
yeah.
when you're in it in the first person, you know that it's a different story.
Yeah.
So no matter what, right? We're all new, we're all winging it, by the way. I don't care what anybody says. I will be the first person to tell you that nobody knows everything. Right. And I
Yeah.
think a lot of times people will come to me and they'll assume that I know everything, but I don't. I learn every day. And I get excited when I have the opportunity to learn. And I'm still a full nerd when it comes to parenting. And do it. No, I don't wish I could do it again. I have literally no desire to do that again. From where you guys are, thinking about everything that you've been through, because you've had two very separate journeys, two very separate adventures. Would you do it again? Amanda, if you could begin at the
Mm.
beginning, would you start over? And if you could start over, what's the one thing you would do different?
I, I I would not. I mean, okay, this is what I've always said. Would I have an additional or different twins? Absolutely not. Like, no. Would I have the same ones I have now?
Yes.
Maybe. Maybe. um, the one thing that I oh wow, there's so much. I was so unprepared. I was so
Hmm.
unprepared. Like I had a singleton first, which is different from both of you.
Hmm.
So I had a singleton, and I always refer to her as like the college education that did
Mm.
not prepare me for the job.
Hmm,
Wow, that's a great analogy.
Like
that is.
100%. Like there was not, I could relate nothing to the
Mm.
first experience, except for that she terrified me because she had colic, and I cried my entire pregnancy thinking, what if I
Yeah.
have two that have colic?
Oh my gosh.
There's plenty of people who
They
do, though.
didn't. Whew,
Thank
they
gosh.
didn't.
Yeah.
Yes. But it's always like, remember, like our heart is our heart, right? I'll say
Right.
that all the time. Like it's always so fascinating because there are plenty of people who have twinnies that both have colic and they're saying, well, at least my twinnies have this, right? Everybody
Hmm.
Right. It's
always
true.
goes, we always like look at somebody else, like who has it worse than us? Because that's going
Yeah.
to be how we're going to get through. But like thinking, Amanda, would you do anything differently?
Yes, I would. I would definitely take the pictures. Like I would
Yeah.
Hmm.
definitely,
Yeah.
especially the giant belly. I don't have one. I do not. That's not entirely true. I have one with a friend who is also pregnant, but like it's so far. It's so like it's barely right the cusp of my
Yeah.
stomach.
It
Like,
was new.
but no, I was like, no, no pictures, no, no, no. But now I'm like, I would like to show them how ginormous they may be.
Yeah. It's true. I don't have any pictures either. I have one picture of my baby shower, but I was so hating every way I looked and like said I
Yes,
didn't want it, which was so dumb in hindsight, right?
hindsight.
Because it's like I was still doing pretty good then. I was like, oh, look at that face. It was flat. It had no wrinkles on it. Like I would have just liked more photos from that. I didn't care how giant I was. But I have literally one picture from my baby shower, but then not long after my baby shower, I ended up having them.
Yeah.
So I didn't have
Yeah.
time. Like I didn't get that, full pregnancy, high pro glow, 38 weeks. Look at my belly, taking a picture with like a crown of flowers. That would have been
Hmm.
nice. So Paige,
Right.
what would you have done differently?
I absolutely I have another thing that I'll say, but I absolutely would have done more pictures during the pregnancy because all of the I do have a couple, but they're all like selfies from like a mirror and like you see like toothpaste stains on the mirror and stuff, like they're not cute.
Right. That's real life. Real
Um,
life.
yeah, I feel like I was still pregnant like it was in 2021, so it was like before the pandemic and before TikTok really blew up and before people were like literally like documenting everything and
Yeah.
like I feel like social media blew up so much since then and so thus like people would take more pictures of their journeys. So I would absolutely have taken more pictures and like cute pictures or even done like a maternity shoot because having
Yes.
twins it was so stressful for me and I had a very complicated pregnancy, but it was also really cool at the same time and it was like I'm gonna be a mom to two and like I wish I could have like had more joyful photos to look back on and like remember the excitement that I had too. The other thing I would say, and I don't think I would redo my journey again. It it was a lot. It's tiring just thinking about all of the different. I was talking about this with my husband last night. I was like, which stage do you feel like was the hardest? Like, was it the first year? Like when they're two? Right now, we've come to agree that three was absolutely a train wreck. Like, but if I had to go back, if I did have to go back and do it again, I would just like, I would be more gracious with myself. I feel like it was my first time parenting, so I feel like I had all this pressure on myself to like do things the right way. And it's like there is no right way. Just like do what you can with the best information that you have at the time and like give yourself some grace, especially when there's two of them. And then the second thing is I would absolutely get help sooner. Like I I started going to therapy when my twins were 2.5, but I absolutely think I should have started when I was pregnant with them because the pregnancy was so traumatizing to begin with. Um, and then like all the anxiety after the birth and like the extra medical hurdles that they were going through, I was in such a survival mode that like I really could have used somebody to just give me some like professional support of like, okay, like it makes sense what you're experiencing, but also here are some tools that you can have to like help yourself through this time. Because it's only in retrospect that I'm like, oh my gosh, like if I know what I know now, like that would have been, it would have
Yeah.
felt like so much less pressure on
Yeah.
myself. And like I just would have felt more supported. So
It
yeah,
should
it would
be
have been like,
mandatory. It really,
I,
honestly, I
yeah,
don't even understand why even like a prenatal and a postnatal just like check-in
yeah,
isn't like mandatory. But then if they made it, there's not enough therapists. So
yeah,
there's not even enough therapists for people who need them like in emergent situations. Like it just doesn't, it's just weird. But yeah,
yeah.
I think that getting help earlier, I think,
Hmm.
and some mental help support of just realizing that you are it and that's okay. And here's what's going to happen
Hmm.
if you fail. As long as everybody's alive and washed-ish
Yeah.
and fed-ish, like you will be okay. I think we
Yeah.
we worry too much about living up to this, potential that we may have had. And especially for twin moms, like for I know that both of you didn't have the same journey, but like for me that wanting to have kids for so long, I
Hmm.
had 5 years of infertility where I had 5 years of imagining what my future would be.
Yeah.
And then I had like a train that ran through the truck that I was driving. It wasn't even the train
Hmm.
crash. It was like a multiple pile up. And I had no idea how to handle that because I had only prepared myself for positivity. With the
Mm.
negativity of infertility, I was just focused on staying positive, staying positive, staying positive, that I never really thought about reality. And
Yeah.
so instead of like my reality hit so hard because I was going to just be positive. And I also I wanted like a very specific type of like birth. And I am not a crunchy person, but I wanted super crunch. Like I wanted full in Earth Mother delivering by a stream where a goldfish coaches me through my breathing techniques. Like that would have been fine. And then a unicorn comes out and literally takes a cold washcloth and puts it on my head as I push baby A out. Yeah. Obviously, yeah, that's not the plan that I got. But if I had to like change anything about like raising them truthfully, I don't think I would change anything. The
Mm.
one thing that I think I would do is that I was buying into like trendy parenting things. And then they're
Mm.
like, don't be be a screen-free parent or don't
Yeah.
be a helicopter mom, like whatever it was. And I'm like, ooh, I'm going to read up on that or ooh, I'm going to do that. When at the end of the day, I just did what I was going to do anyway. And I say, I know I'm a lot like my mom, but my mom really wasn't that bad because I don't think I'm that bad. And so she clearly, like her methods were clearly effective. Maybe not so much for my sister, but that's a different story for a different day. But I think it's really what your kids receive from
Mm.
what you tell them. It has nothing to do. You could tell them everything till they're blue in the face. You could have a million different boxes for sensory boxes and all these things. Like it's not that those are unnecessary, but they're basically just time killers to whatever is going to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I
Fair.
would have watched less videos on different ways to parent because I did not think that I was capable of making good parenting choices.
Mm.
I just didn't.
Yeah.
I
Like
felt,
leaning into your own,
yeah.
like,
And then I'm like, hey, I'm kind of an okay person. And if I raise, like, I think once you realize that your only job is to raise functional humans, that's it. That's it. That's what our job is. Our job is not for them to be Olympians. Our job is not to encourage them to be leaders of the universe. Our job is to support them in what they choose to do, but make sure that they do it safely and effectively. That's it. That's all we got to do. That's it. We can't choose too much. Okay, so that's what our conversation is, but we did get questions from the audience. So I know that you guys have compiled a bunch of questions and a bunch of different things that we could talk about that were pulled from you guys. So know that anybody out there that's listening, watching, whatever, however you get this, know that if you have questions for the Twiniversity team, just email us at community@twiniversity.com. Super simple, or slide into our DMs and we'll try to get it answered. Okay. So what is the first topic that we want to conquer today?
We would like to talk about just the twinniest twin moments.
Oh,
Like something that
God.
a one, even two child home,
Yeah.
but different ages, it's just something that they're just not going to experience.
So I'll go first. So I don't know if you guys have thought about this, but I think the 20th thing was learning about their own way that they communicated.
Mm.
And I don't think that singletons, even at different ages, could understand that. And my twins didn't necessarily have a twin language.
Mhm.
So it's not like they had like this alien language where they would speak and just be able to interpret each other's thoughts. But my kids did have a way, and they still do. They have a way that they communicate with each other that they just get it. They just get what it's saying. So my son, who was a late talker, often would tell me something that he wanted, but it wasn't the English that I speak. But because my daughter was in the same situation and probably wanted the same thing, she would be like, oh, like she would be mad at me. She's like, he's telling you that he wants an apple. That's literally an example. He wanted an apple. And I'm like, what? Like, I was like, buddy, like, hey, like, let's use our words. And I'm being like positive mommy. But also there's a piece of me that's like running through a wall on fire because why can't I understand my child? And then my daughter like comes up like I'm a moron. And she's like, oh, he's asking you for an apple. And I'm like, what? That's it? And I was like, you want an apple? And he's like, apple. I was like, what is happening here? So I think that was one of like the 20th things, is that the way that they relate to each other is nothing that I could understand, even though I would say that my sister's my best friend and I have a very close relationship with my sibling. It's not the same.
No.
It is
Yeah.
something that is just a different level. So yeah, what was your 20th twin moments?
I'm gonna jump in because mine is kind of a segue from what Nat was just sharing.
Okay.
It wasn't even one that I was thinking of, but it's similar in that regard. It's like I'm gonna give a backstory here. I know we were talking about foster dogs earlier. So when we got our dog, there was a brother and a sister dog, right? And they're from the same litter. And I remember someone telling me, don't get the two dogs together when they're from the same litter because they will have more loyalty to each other and listen, or like feed off of each other more than they will listen to you as their owner. And I actually think that that applies to twins
I
too,
agree.
because it's not even just their language. It's like the way that they bond with each other is so unique and so strong. They're literally like together all the time. Obviously in utero, definitely a lot the first year just because of logistics of newborns. But I think because of that, like even, you were saying, Amanda, like a family of two, like even two kids at different age levels, they're not together the amount of time that twins are together. And because of that, it creates such a strong bond that I really do feel like sometimes they listen to each other more than they listen to me. And I feel like in moments can just backfire so quickly. Like I think that they'll be settled down for bedtime or something, and then all out of nowhere, like they'll just rev each other up real quick, like from 0 to 100. And I was like, what did I miss? What just happened? Or like they just like, you feel like you're being ganged up on. Like
You
they'll
are.
just
You
strip
don't
butt
feel
like
naked
that.
and run
That's reality.
everywhere.
Oh yeah,
And
no,
I'm
it's,
like,
it's an exclusive club that we're not members of, 100%.
yeah, it's like I feel like I'm on the outside of this inside joke, and I'm like, how do I control this? So maybe that's the other thing I would say is like, you just, let go of the fact that you have all control over these twins because they have their own bond and relationship and they're gonna do what they're gonna do, like going to the playground, they just look at each other and you're like, boom, separate
Yep.
directions. And you're like, okay, this feels unsafe now. So yeah, I think it's that unique twin bond and not only like the way that they talk and communicate with each other, but just like the the crazy fires that they somehow just like create out of nothing in like a moment. Yeah.
Have you entered the argument stage, like we're in the point now where like the kids have learned how to ignore each other. And so then that just like fires the one up. Like fires them up. I'm just like, oh,
My poor kiddos.
bring it on.
Yeah. No, we're in the I'm gonna just bite you every 10 seconds stage or,
The biting
or
stage
hit
is
you
fun.
or spit on you or push you. So that's where we're at. I think I'll take the ignoring over that.
Good times, good times.
Yeah.
Amanda, did your kids go through that? The biting and all that? Did they have that
They
moment?
didn't bite. They very much now. So yeah, it's funny because I have very similar stories like as yours because Alec was a late talker, but I actually don't think he was really like. I just think he has a very like dominant twin sister,
Mhm.
and she was the first. She would just talk for him, and then he had a dominant older sister as well, and the poor kid never got a chance to say anything. I mean, even now he'll be like mid-sentence and they'll talk to him and we literally have to be like, okay, stop, let him
I
finish
see
the
it. I
story.
see it when I'm talking to you and they're all in the room.
Right.
They do that to him. I
Yes.
feel bad.
Yes, no, and he is so like, yeah.
Poor
So
kid.
poor kid. Yeah, we're like, I mean, don't get me wrong, I wasn't sad he had an IEP and got free preschool and stuff, so it's fine.
That's great.
But yes, no, I swore all the whole time. I was like, the dude can talk. He just doesn't get a chance to.
Oh.
And it all changed. I did a one-on-one date with each of the kids, and he was like a different person. So like that is what made me decide that they were going to be in separate classes. Because I did the summer before they went to kindergarten, I took each of them out, and Adeline was Adeline. She is her. But Alec, we went to a entertainment center like that has like foam pits and bowling and all that stuff. Well, the foam pit is not made for adults. So he wanted to do it. He had to do it on his own. And I was like, oh, he's gonna get all the way up there and chicken out. And it's all right. I'll be here watching. He jumped off that thing without any hesitation. And then like another kid, because kids, another kid pushed him off. And then I was like, oh no, here it comes. He's done. Like, we're done. We're leaving. He came over. He's like, that kid pushed me off. Oh, well, and went and did it again. I was like, who is this kid?
Yeah.
And I was like, he needs to not live in his sister's shadow.
That's what happens. That's what happens. It's horrible. But yeah, they are their own little people. And sometimes we forget. So one of the people, the guy that I spoke to this morning, the dad, he is a twin and he has twins, but he's not close to his twin. And I'm not like, I feel bad. Like, I don't want to be gossipy, but like, I don't even know how, like, if this is going to come out before that one. I don't know like how we're going to release the podcast this year, but like, I felt bad. I felt like he was missing out and that he was born on a military base overseas. And so they just have different ways that they deal with twins in school over there. But like, there's a piece of me that feels like he missed out on something. And I felt sad for him, but he's not sad. So I can't be sad for people because I have no role in that. That's what I keep telling myself, right? That's what my therapist tells me. Nat, you have no role in that. You can't do that. You can't talk to those people. You have no role in that.
But see, you might have a role because I think you're just projecting and you're actually worried that might happen with your twins.
No,
and
I don't. I feel like I feel like he missed out on what my twins have.
Oh, okay.
Because like
It is
knowing their
interesting.
relationship.
I do know a lot of adult twins that aren't.
Yeah, which makes me super sad.
Yeah.
But like my twins are polar opposites. If you look at them on paper, they are physically different. They have different interests. They do have the same sense of humor, I will say. But I don't force anybody to be what they are, but they really make it work. They make it work so nicely and it had nothing to do with me. Like I was just like being like I was a stay-at-home mom for all the time, but for the record, I was a stay-at-home mom, but during school hours, after school hours, I worked. Like, I mean, during school hours, I worked. So they thought I was a stay-at-home mom, but I was really
Mm,
working. Like, it's one of like those weird things. But I never, I never pushed. I just wanted them just to be happy and just be like, could we just be happy? Could we be functional? Could we
hmm
be, good community people? Could we be empathetic like that? Like I had pillars of what I wanted my kids to be. It wasn't like you have to do what I did or you have to do what he does or you have to do what she does. It's like just be you, but you are required. There is a bare minimum. And I still use this term. It's deal breakers at Twiniversity. Like I have deal breakers. Like we're not mean to other people. I don't care who you
hmm
are. I don't care who you are. I don't care who that person is. I don't care what they did to you. You are control. The only one you can control is yourself. And I said that so many times that when, like Paige, like what you were saying, when like one would attack the other, right? Because
hmm
that savage brutality that occurred on a regular basis in my home. But
Survival of the fittest, right?
yes, but they equally had their own like little things that would set them off and they knew it. And so
mm
like you were saying, Paige, at bedtime, like one would just go berserko. But at the
hmm
same time, the only thing I could say is listen, you have no control over what your brother does. You have no control over what your sister does. And still, at 21, I still say this now because everybody has free will. Even infants, even newborns have free will.
Yeah.
Yes, they have primal instincts, but they have free will. And as long as we accept that we don't have control, the only thing we could do is teach and we could shape and we could distract and we could deflect. Like we could do things to not keep the spotlight on whatever that is. That's all that we really could do. And I do say that the proof is in the pudding. And truthfully, that's why I'm like, I shouldn't have bought into all those parenting stupid things. Because at the end of the day, even if I did all those, they still are just going to be who they are. It was going to be me that was going to be different. And
Yeah.
you can't change your kids. You could just help your kids see that there's another way to do something, right? So
Yeah.
like if they're biting, we have to say, hey, listen, maybe we're not gonna, that's what puppies do, and
Yeah.
you're not a puppy or you're a bear. You're a duckling. And so instead, when you get mad, we're gonna quack. And so like we're just trying to be like, hey, there's an alternative to this whatever
hmm
it is, whether it's you want to steal something, he has something that she has something, he has something that he has something, it doesn't matter. It's like we just have to be like, hey, we have no role in that. Right. Thank you,
Yeah.
Angelica, my therapist. Shout out to her. God bless her. I don't know how she still has me as a patient. But like it's so funny that we go through these moments as twin parents and we think like this isn't going to get better.
Mm.
Right? Like we all
Yeah.
have those dark moments and you're like, what did I do? Why did I do this? Like who has two at a time? This is so stupid. And the whole world is telling you, oh, double trouble, better you than me. I don't know how you're gonna do it, blah blah blah. Right? So the whole world poops on us and then we poop on us. And
Oh,
who really loses at the end of the day is the kids. Because if we don't
Yeah.
believe in ourselves, how the heck are we gonna make them believe in us? And how are we gonna make these kids believe that what we're helping them do is the right thing?
hmm
Ugh,
I
go
was
on,
to say,
Paige.
I think the school, when your kids go to daycare for the first time or like or school age children, that's when a lot of the extra hurdles come in too with like the way that you're viewing them as this like unit versus individuals too.
Hmm.
Because I feel like with, kids, if there's like a two kid family or three kid family and the kids are at different ages, it's like kind of natural that they're just like seen individually. But it's like there's conflicts with both sides of it. So for example, last year, my kids' daycare, they did like a little it's more like it's like a Montessori school. They did like a little end of year slideshow of all the kids. And um my husband noticed this first and then I was like, yeah, that is kind of weird. I don't know how to think about it. But in the slideshow, every kid had their own picture and then our kids were grouped together on the same slide. And he was a little bugged by that. And I'm like, yeah, I guess that is kind of like they are like, can't you just give them their own slide? It's like they're always viewed as this unit. So I don't know, that was like a weird thing. And then this year we'd separated them in daycare. And it's been better so they can have some time apart. But I'm also, because they're in different classes now at the same age group, I get so many different things from each class. So like around Christmas time, one of them came home with a letter from Santa and the other one didn't get it. And I'm like, so now, like, and if you have like a 5-year-old versus a 3-year-old, I feel like it's a different class. Like you can
Hmm.
make something up. But now I'm like, hey, I'm gonna have to go photocopy this letter from Santa, white out her name, write his name on it, and like figure this out. And then the other day, their birthday's coming up on Valentine's Day, and one of the classes sent home this thing that I'm supposed to fill out with like photos of each year, like first year, second year, third year. And I'm like, okay, what if I do that for him? Now don't I have to do this for her? And then even just deciding what you're gonna like activities you're gonna let them be in.
Hmm.
Do like we got these like free vouchers to do this add-on music class at the school or whatever, which I would never have paid out of pocket for, like because I just that's not what we're already paying enough for the daycare to begin with.
Hmm.
And I thought it was enough for both of them, and turns out it was only enough for one of them.
Hmm.
So I enrolled one of them thinking like maybe down the road we'll enroll the other one. And I asked her the other day, do you want to be in this music class? And she's like, no. And I'm like, now I feel like people are going to judge me because I put one twin in the music class and not the other. And I'm like, I don't want to just sign her up because I'm worried about what the people will think if I did this for one twin and not the
Hmm.
other. And it's like, I just feel like there's a lot of extra hurdles that you have to like navigate in the school and daycare world once you're
So
like,
you can't
yeah,
worry about the judging thing because people
yeah,
they're going to judge you like regardless. If you put them both in there, they're gonna be like,
yeah,
oh look, they made him do the same activity.
yeah.
And if you put them one in there, oh well, why doesn't the other one get to?
Right. And yeah,
Mm-hmm.
so I'm like, well, why am I going to pay for her to do this thing that she already told me she doesn't want to do? And granted,
Right.
she's 3, almost 4. Like, they only know so much. Like, you
Yeah.
can make decisions to override them. But I'm like, they did let her do like a little intro class, and she said she didn't like it. And I'm like, I'm not going to pay all this money that I wasn't even intending to do in the
Yes.
first place just to make things equal. It's like
Mm-hmm.
equal isn't always
Fair.
yeah, it's
It's
in
that,
Twin
yeah,
World
you
is
don't, you
different.
can't force
Yeah.
somebody to do something that they don't want to do. And you have to
Yeah.
find whatever that other kiddo wants to do. There's nothing wrong
Yeah.
with that. And even truthfully, if you did nothing while that other kid was in music class and you just went to go get, a soda and sit in the park, there's nothing wrong with that either.
Yeah.
Like there's no right thing. It's going to be whatever you could do to nurture that one kid's desire to do something. And if you could
Hmm.
afford it, you could afford it. If you can't, then just do it at home. Like the thing is you
Yeah.
can't I want to feel special. And if they do the same thing every single time, it's not special.
Mm-hmm.
It's true.
And so we think always as twin parents that that's bad, like we're doing one for one and one for the other. It's not. It's just it's
Yeah.
okay that it's special. I used to play with these when the twins were little. We had friends that were triplets, and
Mm.
the mom that was like my regular play date. And so we would go out. The mom had a full-time nanny. I'd never had any paid help at all. So we would go to the playground, and we would do 3 adults with the 5 kids. And so we would go and we would play. And there was one of the triplets that I really connected with, and she was definitely my favorite. I will say it. And I really had no problem with her being, and it wasn't that she was my favorite, it's because I was her favorite. So
Mm.
like when we would be at the playground, like my twins would abandon me, but one of these, the trippies would come and play with me. And I would be like, oh, and I love playing. You love playing with other people's kids because they don't know your jokes, right? Like my kids were sick of me. My kids were like, Ma, please, we've seen that shadow puppet show. But this little girl was so sweet and I really, really connected with her. But here's the plot to the story. The mom got really mad at me that I would do this.
Mm.
And
Oh,
so I
like
would,
favoritism.
yes. And so I would go someplace and I would get the 3 girlies something, like if we went someplace, but I would always get my special trippy. I would get her something special. And I thought to me, like I was like, I'm doing something good because it's got to be tough to be one of 3 girls. And so it would be
Mm.
nice, like everybody could have a favorite, right? Let's say, like I know that the grandmother favored one of the girls. Like
Mm.
clearly I even knew that. I knew that the nanny favored one of the girls. I clearly knew that. And so this was like the little odd lady out.
Mm.
But the mom could not understand that, and she really got mad at me. And truthfully, like I had to stop hanging out with them because like that was like my little bestie. And the mom was like, "You can't do that." But I'm like, "Your girls don't want to, the other two don't want to hang out with me. Like,
Yeah.
why is this my fault? Why is it bad that she gets to have something special?"
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's okay, like for all of you out there that are listening that are like, hey, everything has to be equal. No, it doesn't. If you have a child that connects with a family member or a friend more than the other, there's nothing wrong with that. It's not that you're making the other one feel bad. Use it as an opportunity to spend time with that other one by yourself.
Hmm.
Like anything could be an opportunity, but like still, can I tell you, I still feel very dissatisfied by that relationship because I miss that kid. I
Oh,
miss that kid. I
yeah.
stalk her on Facebook, and so I know she's okay, and she's in college now, and she's doing wonderfully, and I'm very, very happy. But I feel like I was doing something really different for that kid. I'm not the same type of mom that that triplet mom was. I had more time because my kids were feral and would just play at the playground. I was fine with them as long as they were good community people. They didn't hurt anybody. They were safe. They were fed, they were cleaned like that. They were good. But like, I think sometimes we worry about things that are not going to be something later on. And maybe
Yeah.
what we could do is like anytime as twin moms, anytime that we feel like, is this a good decision? Just think, how is this going to impact them in 10 years? Is it?
Yeah.
Because then why are we overthinking it? Right? Like
Yeah.
Amanda,
That's
when you
true.
think about, because your kids are very different, all three of them are very different.
Hmm.
When you think about things that they do or think about like using that story, have you had times where you had a family member or a friend or even their friends connect with somebody more, and how do you deal with that?
Yes, yes. I mean, especially with when it comes to Lorelai's friends that come over, they tend to pick a favorite, and it just is. I don't know. I don't. It's because it's not necessarily like the boys and the girls like the girls. Um, there it's they there is. I mean, unfortunately, in our house, um, anytime the kids say that's not fair, the only response they get is a fair is somewhere you go in the summer. Like that is, and that ends the conversation because it doesn't it's that sad lesson that we all heard and will continue to be said that
Yeah.
life isn't fair, blah blah blah. But like that's what it comes down to. I mean, there's certain things I try to keep. I mean, I try to keep fair in the sense that I mean, I'm not going to lie, Christmas presents, Kay, like I don't necessarily keep the money the same, but I do
Hmm.
try to, if there's 5 gifts to unwrap for
Yeah.
one, I
So
try
one
to
for
have
one.
5 gifts for the other one.
Hmm.
Only because I do think they notice that stuff. However, I don't really care about the size of it because sometimes they'll be like, well, his is really big. I'm like,
Yeah.
you're right, it is. So, I mean, that's kind of, but as my mother would say, I'm trying to raise children in a world that doesn't exist anymore.
Hmm.
So it's very different here at my house.
It is. It's so different. And like thinking about how like you guys were raised versus the way that you're raising your kids. When you were thinking about okay, I'm having a family, how am I going to do this? Like Paige, when the kiddos were first born, did you say, okay, I want to do exactly what my family did, or did you say I'm doing the polar opposite of everything that they did? How did the way that you were raised
Yeah.
come into raising your kiddos?
I think that I definitely wasn't like, I'm going to do the polar opposite because I feel like I had a really good relationship with my parents. And I have an older sister who's like 3.5 years older than me. We definitely had periods of like where we hated each other, we were fighting a lot. But overall, the arc of our sisterhood, we've really had a good, close relationship. And I really like her. So I feel like I had a good upbringing, but I feel like the piece that I realized I wanted to do differently, I would say, came in between the way that I handle quote unquote like discipline. I feel like I actually, now having been in therapy, I realized I had a ton of anxiety growing up, but I don't think that my parents, for no lack of, for no fault of their own, just didn't have a lot of awareness of that was what I was really struggling with. And so for me, the one big thing I really wanted to do different, not differently out of spite, but just like differently as how I realized I needed a little extra support growing up was around like mental health and like regulation even. And like I feel like the way that I'm trying at least to parent my kids now, because some days it's a shit show, but is really trying to like not look at their behaviors at face value, right? Like I think so a lot of times we see behaviors and like how can we get them to stop biting? How can we get them to stop yelling? But it's like I'm trying to like really get to the root of like, okay, like why are they doing that though?
Yeah.
So just like being a little bit more in tune with what's going on with them below the surface and figuring out like how I can support them. Because there is a little bit of reparent. I feel like every generation probably has this, but there is a little bit of reparenting that I'm doing while I'm also trying to like be the best parent for my children. And I'm sure one day they'll look back and be like, that lady was nuts. Like, why would she do that? But I
They
think
will.
that's the one big thing for me is like being very cognizant of how I am, I guess just like being in tune with the real struggles and the things that are going on below the surface of like the outward behaviors. And then I guess on top of that too, is just trying to be as present as possible. Like I did a complete career pivot from teaching English to like now like running my own businesses, and that I did because I wanted to be like with them more and not I had my dad was very, very hard worker. But like he would come home and he was at work all day and he'd come home and he was like doing work all the time in his office
Yeah.
and was always so stressed out. And like he would coach soccer and do all these other things, but it was like we're always doing something. It was like I just want to be like unrushed and more present than I was when I feel like I was growing up. And I think that's where a lot of my anxiety came from was like this constant, and I think that was a generational thing too. Because I'm a millennial and I think it's just like not wanting to be working 24 hours a day and like
Yeah.
just constantly doing things. I just want to be present in the moments that we have and like not feel rushed. Yeah. So that's a little bit of like what I'm trying to change in the way
Yeah.
I
So, Amanda, knowing a lot about your family and your sister specifically, I love her so much. When did you and Eric make any like conscious decisions, even for like his side of the family? Did you say like we're gonna keep these things? Like I love that, that my mom did this. He loves that his mom did this. Are there things that you thought about that you were like, I'm bringing into this, or you're like, that's old news. We're starting from scratch.
I love that you try to give my life and me a positive spin because we all know like
But
that
but
is
it
not me.
is, but it is a
Like
positive
I'm a
because look
pessimist.
it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what happened, right? Because truthfully, whether you will never accept a compliment, which I hate about you, but like you are a great mom and like your husband's a great dad. Like you guys are good parents. Like there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Like you do make an active effort every day to make the lives of your kids better. Even thinking about the trip that you're going on, that wasn't a you and Eric thing. That was like, we want to give our kids these experiences. You've been
Mhm.
saying that since I've met you. It's always that, what could you do to give these kids experiences? Somebody's there. I can't say
No,
anything.
it's
Oh,
because I don't have a babysitter, so they have to come with me.
yes. Okay. I was like, what? I thought I just like ruined a surprise of something. I was like, oh my
No.
God, they know everything already. So, but like when you were are they active decisions that you make to make their lives better than yours was? Or is it just, do you not even think about it and you're just like, we're doing this?
So unfortunately, it was more of instead of we're doing this, it was we're not doing
Mhm.
this. Like, um, in fear that family may listen to this, I can't get into too much
Yeah, they're never
detail.
going to listen. By the way, nobody ever listens to any of this stuff.
Oh, okay.
If I had a nickel for every time I thought that anybody in my family would actually care about anything I do, I am delusional.
Um,
Delusional.
we Eric and both of our family siblings had children much earlier than we did. Like they're all nearly adults now, and our kids are still somewhat little. But so we spent a lot of time with them, with kids, and it was very much like, okay, family dinner, blah, 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 get in the car. And I would look at him and be like, okay, that thing that just happened, that is not happening if we have kids.
Yeah.
Like, no, you will take your own kid to the bathroom. You will not expect somebody else to. Like, no.
Yeah. It's interesting. It's interesting that a lot of us like you, and whenever I'm teaching pregnant parents and our Twiniversity classes, I always remind people, like, are you bringing your own shit into their lives? Because
Yeah.
also, like, working with a lot of people with lactation, truthfully, you, like what Paige said about the anxiety, you would be shocked at how people are not even aware that they're doing it. You
Mm.
know,
No,
and like Amanda too, I'll tell you too, like the fact that you can't accept a compliment, like I worry that the kids aren't going to accept a compliment. But they do. Your
I'm
kids are
like, I
much
don't
different than
know.
you.
But no, so, okay. So just tell me this, and this is totally a little tangent, tiny. So, we all doom scroll every now and then. Well, unfortunately, these things have been popping up on mine and on my algorithm that they're like 10 signs of childhood trauma, which I'm going to tell you, I did not have childhood trauma. Like, I loved my childhood. Like, if I could do it exactly the way my parents did it, I would, honestly. Like, I mean, I feel bad. It's not that I don't want to give them, it's not want to. I'm not going to give my parents 100% of the credit because I am the youngest of three. And so I watched my brother, who is 6 years older than me, and my sister, who is 2 years older than me. And I made note because that's what I am. I'm an observer. And I went, oh, look, he got in a lot of trouble for doing that. Maybe I won't do that.
Mm.
So, I mean, I made conscious decisions. So I'm not going to give them 100% of the credit. But anyway, they're like 10 signs of childhood trauma. Well, so then I'm just like, okay. And I read them and I'm like, I have 9 of those.
Yeah.
Like, but I promise, I don't have childhood trauma. Not accepting compliments is one of them. That's funny.
I saw a lady who's like a somatic like healer, and she had an interesting definition of childhood trauma, that it's like if it was different from how you would have wanted to experience it, it could be considered trauma. And I thought that was an interesting take on it. So maybe that's, I mean, I'm sure there's varying layers of how you define trauma.
Yeah, it's true.
Well, any kind of pressure I had, I put on myself. Like, I can never once.
Which is, I don't think that's childhood trauma.
You have to do this. And I was just like, no, like, I mean, I will say that, like, security wise, I always felt like I was not the prettiest. And so I think I strived to be the smartest. And so I put a lot of pressure on myself academically, but it was all me. Like, never once did my parents be like, you better get an A or you're not getting dinner. Like,
but for the record, the compliment thing, I don't think is childhood trauma. I think that's just us as women.
Yeah,
I think also,
and
that's just us, and that is generational upon generational. That especially when you are type A, it's very difficult for us to. It's just hard, man. I gotta say the truth. Like I'm only saying that to you because they're not there. But I also know that I have to make a conscious effort to just say thank you. And my kids do the same thing. And so I wonder, and the only reason why I even bring that up is because since my kids do like the same thing, like my daughter has a very hard time taking a compliment. And so whenever I will say something to somebody, I'll be like, that's a nice dress. And they'll be like, oh, it's got a rip in the back. And I'm like, or you could just say thank you.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Or you could just say thank you and just like feel how good you feel. Like, I think that that's pretty awesome, right? Like we are so quick to take a positive and spin it.
Oh yeah.
And I don't know if it's because we feel we don't deserve positivity. We don't I don't know what it is. I do it all the time, for the record, but I'm really trying to be like, no, accept the compliment, right? And it's, I have such a hard time with that. Such a hard time.
Well, it makes me uncomfortable. So you know what I mean? So I either go either way, like where, like, then I try to spin it into something funny, or I don't know, like because I do not like to be the center of attention, and compliments or all that stuff. It's like everybody's looking at you. Babe. And so I'm like, then that's where like some funny comment comes out, or even like, I pretend to be offended by it. Like just anything to like lessen the
divert.
Like, look over there.
See, where I will spin it to make it a positive for the other person. And that is like
See,
my own thing.
and that's why you're a
So
good
like
human.
but I don't know, like when moms are like, oh my God, I couldn't have done this without you. And I'm like, nope, I'm taking no credit because truthfully, you could only lead a horse to water. You're the one that drank. And
Yeah.
you were the one that did this. So as quick as it is that I should be like, look at me, I did something good. I'm like, no, you did it better. And you were the winner in this story because I think we don't have that enough. I don't think that it's like it doesn't matter if you literally have like literal effing cheerleaders in your house, it wouldn't be enough because you have to actually believe it. We have to accept positive things that happen and we just have to make that our delicious reality. And then in turn, our kids are going to be able to be receptive to positivity because
Hmm.
what I don't know what happened, but I don't I mean, if I really look on paper, probably I had a traumatic childhood. Like if I really think about like certain really crappy things that happened, I could ruin it, but I don't let it ruin it. Where
Yeah.
weirdly, and I know my sister will never listen to this, like she let it ruin her.
Mm.
And so she really let that like eat her soul. And I'm just like, no, that was that person's problem who said that, whether it was in high school, no matter what it was, like you have to let it go. But my mother wasn't the one to be like, oh, that kid was what, or they would be like, oh, they were being stupid. Or like, if my aunt said something to be like, oh, your aunt's an idiot. Or actually, my mother would have never defended any family member against me. Like I never really like in general, if I had to say it, unfortunately, both my parents are passed, so I can't even fight with them about it. But I did plenty as I got older. And I'm like, why did nobody ever like advocate for us? Like, why
Mm.
were we left to fend for ourselves? Like
Hmm.
just because they were aunts and uncles and cousins, like that's
It's
not cool.
again generational. I
Wrong
think
is
I do
wrong.
like I mean not to like give them a free pass, but no, I feel the same way about my parents 100%.
But that
And I
makes
just
me
think, but
nuts.
I also think that in this generation, there's a little bit of respect that's lacking. And I think that might be
Yes, I'm
one of the
having a hard time
keys.
with that.
Yes,
So,
no, 100, and I
like,
don't know how you
even
teach kids
yesterday,
that. And
we
I,
had,
so, because I don't remember being taught to respect people.
you
I mean,
just
at least,
did.
I'm sure I did. I'm sure I got smacked upside the head if I said
Yes,
something to my
at
grandma
some
I wasn't
point.
supposed to say, but I don't recall that. And so I don't know how to teach my kids respect because sometimes they talk to adults in ways that I'm like, what are you doing?
But
Mm.
where is the line where it's disrespect versus like being tolerant of normalcy, right? So like yesterday we had a bunch of family over and my aunt was like way too loud and she was just like pretty feral and I was like, calm it down, kiddo, right? And so my aunt is 84. She's
Wow.
84 and she got mad and she was like, don't talk to me that way. And I was like, actually, A, you're in my house, just throwing this out there. And B, it's nobody's enjoying this. Be
Yeah.
aware. Like have some self-awareness. But it turned into like an issue that she thought I was being disrespectful, where I'm
Mm,
like, it's not disrespectful if I'm telling you the actual truth. That's not
Hmm.
like, if anything, I'm being respectful because I'm like, hey, pay attention to that because if you're doing that in your own circle, it could alienate
yeah,
some people. But like
Yeah.
it's such a fine line because then I really wouldn't want my kids to tell her that. Like I
right.
could say that.
I think it has to do with age too. I think like now you're at an age where like you are the lack of a better word elder,
Yeah.
and yes she is as well, but it becomes a mutual respect at a certain
Yes.
age, I think. Whereas
I
yes,
hope.
I would still
I
say your
don't know. But
kids,
then the kids
yes,
think that they could say that. And then I'm like, but you can't. And they're like,
right.
why? And I'm like, because you just can't. And I don't know why you can't, because you'd be right as well. But when they were little and like things like that would happen, I would say, tell me. Like,
Mm.
tell me or tell daddy. And like
Yeah.
we will handle it. Do not go fight with,
Yes.
Aunt Florence. Like let's avoid that at all costs. Like don't fight with your grandmother. Don't fight with your grandfather. Like you tell us. And if there's something that bothers you, we will handle it because that is a delegation that should not be your responsibility at 7 years old to advocate on behalf of everybody that's visually impaired. Like, I don't even know what it was, right? But it's such a fine line. It's so tough raising kids now because they think they're entitled to say whatever they want, but at the same time, there has to be an earned level of respect that I don't
I
know if that's even appropriate anymore.
well,
Like,
I don't
do
know even
they?
how you do it. I mean, case in point, like Adeline, because then because I will stand up for the right? Like if my kids are in the wrong, I have no problem telling them, explaining to them why they're in the wrong.
Yeah.
And Adeline had a run-in with a coach who was telling her to get in front of the ball in softball and stop stabbing at it. And then she just like by the end of practice, she was in tears and she was just frustrated. And she came over and she was like, I don't like my coach. And the coach was like, she got a little, and I was like, okay. And so I'm like, well, what was the deal? And she tells me that he kept telling her, you got to get in front of the ball. She's like, but he just kept saying it and he just kept saying it and became so annoying. And I'm like, okay, but did you do it? Did you get in front of the ball? Well, no. I'm like, well, yeah, he's going to keep saying it if you don't do it.
They're going to be the death of us.
My kids aren't at that age yet. Well, I shouldn't say that because they do say to random strangers when we're out and about. They're like, if they're like getting too close to needing a nap or they're hungry, they just like look at a random stranger at the store and be like, I don't like you. And I'm like, what the heck? Where did that just come from? But I don't know. I don't want to play devil's advocate here, but I'm reading this a parenting book, Natalie. It's called Good Inside. It's by Dr. Becky. I forget what her last name is. She's, I feel like, well known, but she has this interesting thing, and it kind of reminds me of what you were just describing, Amanda, with the blow up at soccer practice. It's like when a kid is being disrespectful so often, and I think this is something that generationally we always take the outward behavior personally, right? Like we see them disrespectful, but when you look below the surface, and I'm not saying that kids should go around saying, I don't like you, or like telling their coach that I don't like my coach or whatever. But it's like as adults, I feel like we do have a responsibility to not take that surface level behavior personally and dig deeper. Like, why is the child reacting this way, right? Because it's always rooted in some sort of like dysregulation or not feeling seen or not feeling heard, right? In your daughter's case, probably.
It's because she thinks she's the middle child, and I keep reminding her.
But
she's a
but like
twin. We
maybe
don't have a
she
middle
didn't
child.
feel like she was being validated for the things that she was doing well, right? And so then
Yeah.
at this outburst, it's like this guy keeps telling me to do this, but like where is he showing any sort sense of like awareness of the good things I am doing, right? And so that outburst, like I feel like yeah, on the surface it seems disrespectful, but I feel like as adults it's like, okay, I I don't like that you said that to me, but also like let's be curious and figure out like why did you blow up in this moment? How can I support you through this so that like it doesn't happen again, or so that you know how to navigate it better the next time instead of blowing up? Just like maybe I don't know. I forget how old your kids are, 7 or 8, 9, 10.
9.
9. Like
9,
then
yeah.
next time when she's feeling frustrated like that, then she can feel empowered to talk to him and be like, I want to do what you're telling me to do, but like the way that you're telling me to do it, I'm not receiving it in a way that's effective or something like that. So I
Yeah,
feel
it's
like
just not
that's
working
kind of,
for her.
yeah, so I feel like that's kind of where I fall in like, I don't think kids should be disrespectful, but I also think we do have a responsibility as the adults who know how to regulate and things like that and explore behaviors better to figure out, okay, like what's below the surface here? Like, why is that child acting disrespectful?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
But
is true.
see,
We do have the
but
conversation
then
a lot about
but
using
then
your
that
words.
onus is on the other person, which once again, the only one you can control is yourself. So you can't like that. That's a great theory, but unless that coach is open to criticism, right? Or even
Yeah.
advice, which most adults are not.
Not.
Most adults, especially when it comes from a kid, no matter how right that kid is, 100% right, it's going to come off to certain adults of a certain age, or even just not even an age. They could be young. It just me. It's where they grew up. It's it's the society that they live in. That coach could then in turn say, this little moron came up to me and told me that I need to change the way I coach, because that guy could not understand
Yeah.
that she would have been trying to help, right? So this is where like the parenting books backfired on me because like the one that I was reading was literally called Scream-Free Parenting. And I'm not really a big yeller. I have to say, Amanda, you know me for a long time.
No.
I don't really yell. I may give you a look of death, and I like silence will cut sharper than anything that I could ever say. But it's funny that that book was such BS because that's for that person that's open to that idea and having kids that are open to that idea. So in like I took a page out of the book, let's
I was
say.
gonna say, so was it BS like, or is it BS now, or did you,
Oh, it's
or
BS
was it
now.
BS then,
It was
even
all
when you were
BS. It was all BS. It was
okay?
it's not anything that you read is not necessarily applicable to reality, right? Just like when I teach classes, I always say you have to remember my word is not law.
Yeah.
Right? Like that's it. It's like it's gonna hopefully anything that I say to people is gonna spark their own opinions and their own conversations. It's not like you're supposed to take anything that we say here at Twiniversity and be like, I'm gonna apply this for A, B, C, and D, right? But like I'm dying to read that Dr. Becky book, which is why I'm glad you brought it up because it's like I wish to God I had a minute to read. Like truthfully, if I had to have, but I'd rather crochet. So it's not like I have a hobby,
It's your
but
audiobook.
I'd rather I'm making a new pillow cover and a sweater for myself at the exact same time. So when it comes to like the things that we read, they're all great theories, but they have to be receptive by both parties. And so we could think a certain way, or we could teach our kids to do certain, like say something to a friend or, you know, a teacher or a coach. That doesn't mean that it's going to work. So in addition to teaching our kids how to vocalize the things that they feel, we also have to teach them that that person may not be open
Yeah,
to your ideas.
that's fair.
And so we have to then have a backup being like, hey, listen, we only could control ourselves. When this person says this, instead of doing what Dr. Becky says, I would just say what that person is saying is that they're not seeing you make an improvement. What could we do that hopefully makes them open their eyes? Right. Because the thing is telling that guy, like, and I don't know, maybe I'm being just really rough with coaches, but I feel like people who are volunteer coaches, they don't want to hear what you have to say.
Well,
They're like,
yeah.
kid, they're like, I just
Yeah.
freaking, like, I'm not doing whatever the hell I'm going to do because I'm here. And I feel like that might not go over well. But if that kid comes home and says, Mom, listen, I'm really trying, then that parent could go and say, hey, look, the same thing that that kid would have said. If the parent said it, it would be received differently because then it's a peer-to-peer. It's not like, look at this young whippersnapper that's telling me what to do. Although the kids would be 1,000% right. But it's so funny because like unfortunately, I learned all of this the hard way. My kids got in trouble all the time for saying things that were true. Right. So in kindergarten, they had a teacher that was a screamer, that she would yell at these kids in kindergarten. Okay. Old school, old school, old school. And so my husband one day at dinner was like, that's sad that she yells. Like, I feel bad for her because people who yell have poor self-control. You know that that little girl said that the next day to that teacher. Exactly. Okay, so she was like, Teacher Louisa, like that's literally, she's like, my daddy said that people who yell have poor self-control.
Oh no.
Okay, so see where like it's good in theory, she learned it, but that's got to be something that she kept internal. And that's where
Yeah.
I'm like, hey, that's a you thought. You need to keep the you thoughts in your head. Not everybody needs to hear everything you're thinking about
Yeah.
every single time of day. And it would be so delicious if all of these parenting philosophies, whether it's Dr. Becky, me, anybody, like it would be delicious if everybody read that book because then they could expect to know what was going to happen. But people are so freaking dumb. They really are. I love you. I know the people that are listening to this aren't, but you all know, you both know people that are just like, yeah, that would never fly.
Well, like the let them theory, like that one was a big one. I can't remember. I apologize.
Mel Robbins.
Tell us more. What does that
yes.
mean? I don't remember that.
Yes, and I've had a bunch of like friends, personal friends, like you should read. And I was like, I don't need to. I'm like that. I can't. That can't be my theory. I'm like, no. So my kid's got a lighter in his hands, and I'm like, let him
set the house on fire. Let him.
No,
That's how he learns.
No, I'm not a let him mom. I'm a stop it mom, okay?
I'm a stop it mom
Stop it.
too. I'm a stop it mom. I'm a stop it mom as long, but I'm definitely a let it mom. Like I chose my battles. And I think going back to what Paige originally said, they were a pack. They were
Mm,
a pack and like I was the odd man out.
yeah.
And so I had to, I think it took until they were maybe about like 4.5 that they went from pack to team because I wanted to be like, gentle reminder, I am part of your pack. I am part of your team. This is not a you and them or you
Yeah.
and him. This is an us. Like we
Yeah.
are an us. And it was very hard for them to break, for me to break into there. Like I had to be like the cool kid will be like, could I sit at their table yet? Like, could I play with them yet? It was so difficult to go from that pack mentality to be part of their pack. But I also think, and this is like going to like the new parenting, I had to earn it.
Yeah.
I had to
Yeah.
earn it and they had to like I know that they trusted me and I know that I was their mom, but it's different because they had to God
Excuse me,
bless.
sorry.
They had to choose to have me be part of their pack. I couldn't break in. I couldn't demand it. I couldn't tell them this is what was happening. I had to basically be like, "Hey, we could do if we could always do everything." And then I realized that for so long I spoke in plural. Like I was like, I have this still in my phone. There was this one moment I went into an elevator and I was by myself, Paige, and I said, "Excuse us."
Oh no.
But I was by myself. I was at a doctor's visit, but I was so
He's
used to
like,
being part
you
of
have an
my pack.
imaginary friend with you?
Exactly.
I
And
thought
everybody
you
in
were
the
crazy.
elevator is
That's like
looking
the
at me.
mom standing in line paying for the groceries swaying. You're like, oh, she has a newborn at home.
Yes, she's still
Yeah.
swaying. But it's so interesting. We could have the best theories on what we're going to do or how we're going to do it, but at the end of the day, it's they have to receive it. And so
The
Mhm.
whoever, whether they're littles or whether they're bigs or whether they're super bigs and adults, it doesn't matter. They have to be the ones that people have to be receptive and open to these things. And that's our job as parents is we have to be receptive to what these littles are telling us. Because if we
Yeah.
really listen, taking a page, literally taking a page out of Paige's book, but literally if we do that and if we could be like, what's behind this? What's the motivation behind this? You will be a more successful parent because you're not just putting out fires, you're trying to figure out why the fires are starting.
Yeah.
yeah.
And so that's the hardest part about parenting because we have two littles with two different personalities that have two different ideas of what they think they should be doing at this moment. And to get
Yeah.
everybody on the same page, this it'd be even the same book. Holy crap, is like a minor miracle. So yeah, it gets better and better. And I love how this podcast, by the way, was not what you guys intended. You like that?
It's all
I feel like
good.
I was mentally prepared for that though. A
Yeah.
little
Okay.
bit.
No,
It's
I
never
yeah.
going to be what you think it is, but that's part of my charm. Part of my charm is expect the unexpected, but it will never be demeaning, anything that we do. It'll always be for the betterment of the people around us or us ourselves, and never to the expense of anybody else. Like that's it. Like if that, and truthfully, if that's all that we freaking teach our kids, like we'll be great parents. Because at the end of the day, like even in Twiniversity classes, I tell people, listen, you can't forget your partner. If you have a partner, don't forget your partner because
Yeah.
you're going to raise them and they're going to be out. And what are you going to be left with? And so we have to figure this out. Oh, guys, I love you guys. I don't know what I would do without you. And so for those of you that are listening, like understand Twiniversity would not stand. They are like the pillars. They are like I'm the beach house, but they are those 2-foot story pillars that when the storm comes, I make it through. You guys are that. I don't know
Aw.
what those are called, but that's what
I
you
don't
are.
either.
Columns, I think.
I was trying to figure
Columns,
out the
sure.
word. I was thinking scaffolding, but I don't think that's
Scaffolding
right
sounds
either.
good. I'll take whatever it is, but it is critical that I have both of you and I'm so appreciative that you guys get it because it's we've had so many people that have been team members of Twiniversity and for all like if you were a team member of Twiniversity and you're listening, it's nothing negative to you, but like we're in such a different place, but we're only in a different place because of both of you. And I really do mean that sincerely. And truthfully, the Twiniversity team that we have now is so solid that we can weather any storm. And so, like, I'm not even worried about a hurricane because I know we're going to be okay. But I'm just so thankful. And I'm thankful that you guys had twins. Otherwise, you would have never ended up on our doorstep. So
Oh.
look, there's a method to this madness, but I know the people that are listening to this have to get back to their realities. Mwah, mwah.
And my twins are about to bust through the door from
Yay!
daycare.
Yeah, that's it. My son
Daddy's
is
on
setting
pickup
something on
duty
fire
today.
in the kitchen too, by the way, so I can smell it. I think he's making scrambled eggs, but he uses olive oil, and I think he made that oil burn. So, but now I'm hungry, so now I'm going to go get something to eat. But yes, are we doing this again, ladies? Are we doing a
Yeah, let's do
hodgepodge
another
of
one
twin
again.
BS?
Yes.
I like
Yeah.
this too. Okay, good. All right, guys. So, thank you, Miss Paige, and thank you, Miss Amanda, for joining us today, although we're really all in this together. So we all thank you, the three of us. Thank you guys, the listeners, the viewers, whoever this is, and know that we really are here to support you. But unless you tell us how we could support you, we can't. So know that we have a ton of resources at Twiniversity. A lot of them, if you want to take classes, or even some are even covered by insurance. But know that there's no reason to not have the help that you need because we're here. So slide into our DMs. One of them is going to answer it. Email us at community@twiniversity.com. We have our Twin Mom monthly meeting. Like and subscribe, blah, 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 all that jazz. But listen, we wake up every day to make sure that you guys have a good experience, and you have to believe us on that because I know that these two ladies work very hard to make sure of that. And so let us continue to do that. And so thank you for letting us for almost 16 years that you've been allowing me to do this, and that is incredible. Absolutely incredible. When I laugh when everybody told me this was such a bad idea, such a bad business, it's never going to go anywhere. Why are you wasting your time? If I had literally cannot tell you how many times people told me this and I said no. Even if it's 5 people that I get to have an impact on, I'm going to take that impact on the 5 people. Little did I know that we would be reaching millions of people throughout the world on a regular basis. That's insanity. Insanity. So if you have an idea of something that you want to do, if you think that there's a way that we could support you, I know the girl's going to hate me for saying this because they'll be like, Nat, everybody's going to be messaging us, but let us help. You never know. So until next time, guys, see you later, alligators. Thanks for listening, watching, and all of the above.